Autocannons have been in the game for quite some time now as glorified autoloaders with massive clip sizes. But now we're getting a brand new breed of autocannon with rotary autocannons. Yes, miniguns are coming to World of Tanks, but with an interesting quirk that I'm mighty happy to see personally. You see, a while back, World of Tanks PC released a teaser trailer for their year of content to come, and in it, they teased the Czechoslovakian light tanks with some unique looking mechanics. A gun heat system, where the longer you fire, the more they heat up until you have to go on a cooldown. This made me super excited as a way to change our autocannons and create a more balanced version of them, at least I would hope. Sadly, when the lights were released on PC, they became just regular clip-based autoloaders, but console is adding the overheat mechanic to the new rotary autocannon on one of the two new tanks being released for Black Friday. Despite both of these new black tanks having rotary autocannons, only the Cold War tank, the M48 GAU-8 Avenger, has this new mechanic. Which I'm sad to see, but hey, it's still nice to see the mechanic make its way into the game. And it'll work as you expect. You fire the gun and fill up a heat meter. If this meter reaches full capacity, then you're put on a cooldown time, which for the Avenger will be 18 seconds long. During this cooldown, you obviously cannot fire your gun and the meter will not go down. Before you hit the meter cap, you can stop firing and let the gun cool down naturally over time, meaning it's best to fire in bursts rather than holding down the trigger. Now hopefully this is done right, with the right amount of heat buildup for the time firing, and hopefully a delay before the cooldown begins once you stop firing, to avoid easy feathering of the trigger to fire for much longer. It really needs to be done right, and we'll have to wait and see in-game how it's done because they don't tell us much more than what I've just said to you. Unfortunately, I won't be able to try this tank out since I don't buy tanks, especially Cold War tanks, and the World War II tank won't have the overheat mechanic, but instead just a regular clip-based rotary autocannon. Yep, you heard that correctly. Before we get into that though, let's go over the Avenger Stats. These are your two new black tanks for 2024. Starting off with the Cold War M48 GAU-8 Avenger. This tank is an Era 2 medium. It only has a 50% silver bonus, 2700 HP, it goes 56 kilometers an hour forward with a 17 power to weight ratio, 10 degrees of gun depression, 92 millimeters of standard APCR pen with 1013 shell speed for 1500 damage a hit, 40 HE pen for 30 damage, 2 seconds aim time and a 0.3 accuracy. Its intro clip is 0.01 seconds, so it will shoot insanely fast. It does have a reload time, but this is only done at the start of a match when you initially reload, or when swapping ammo types to switch belts. Otherwise, you will never have to reload this gun, only manage its heat. There is a spin-up delay too with these guns, meaning you have to prime that gun for half a second before it begins to fire. Which is nice honestly, but I doubt it will make this tank any difficult to play and really hold it back at all. The DPM is absurd, but I wonder how it was calculated with this gun. I'm not going to try and figure it out because it doesn't really matter. You're not getting that maximum DPM with a gun like this, regardless. It is insane burst damage though. Remember, it is an M48 Patton's hull, so I don't expect it to be too well armored in Cold War Era 2. But that's the Avenger. What's this about a World War II minigun? Here it is on the Vigilante T249. Now this tank was said to have a clip-based system IRL, which is why it doesn't have the overheat. But honestly, I wish it did, because this thing could be very situationally overpowered. And I am anticipating some Terran and FE4005 players being very upset at this tank's introduction, because this tank is going to dish out some real damage real fast. Firstly, I want to mention its intra clip. It's double that of the Avenger with a 0.02 second intra, meaning it shoots half as fast as the Avenger. But that doesn't matter because it's still going to be blisteringly fast. With 192 in the clip, each shot doing 25 damage, that's a clip potential of 4800 damage with a 3.8 something second or so mag dump. Add that half second spin up delay and that's just over 4 seconds to dish out such insane damage. But of course, its issue is going to be penning all that damage. With its measly 75mm of standard pen, no premium rounds, and 25 HE pen, so that's why I'm saying it's going to be situationally overpowered. This thing is going to shred light armored tanks and be completely useless against well armored tanks. Tanks with relative armor should still be scared, however, because some tanks like the Super Conqueror, if outmaneuvered and flanked, will have their 2400 HP shredded from easy ass shots in less than 3 seconds. It's quite a scary proposition, honestly, and this is exactly why I think an overheat mechanic is necessary. One-shotting tanks is an issue, and although this tank requires many pens, if you can get those pens, it only takes 1 or 2 seconds to remove a tank from battle, no matter the HP. Like I said, 4800 clip potential that unloads that quickly? It's a bit ridiculous, honestly. I think putting an overheat mechanic with less damage per shot would limit the amount of damage allowed before maximum heat. That would allow this tank to feel more fair and even give it some more pen. Otherwise, if you see one of these tanks in your RHM Panzerwagen or your 4005 or even Waffle, be afraid. Even the Waffle's intro clip won't beat out this tank, and the only tank that has any hope to remove it before it's dead is the 4005 with an average roll on its AP, and that's because this tank has the lowest tier 10 light tank HP of 1100, which is interesting to see. As for the other stats too, it goes 68 kilometers an hour with a 30 power to weight ratio, has 5 degrees of gun depression, and 85 degrees of elevation, telling me that this is an anti-aircraft vehicle. It has 1.9 seconds aim time and a 0.37 base accuracy. It reloads in 32 seconds, which is, I suppose, nice, and its DPM says 8k, which of course will be very situational. Again, it has the half-second spin-up time too, and a very nice 410 meters view range. The other standout thing that this tank has, that some players may love, is its 25% silver bonus on a tier 10 vehicle. This is something they wanted to do because it's a black tank, and the TL7 Black has the same as a tier 9 vehicle as well. They are the only above tier 8 premiums to have silver bonuses. But to be honest, even with that silver bonus, it may be difficult and highly situational whether you get good silver from this tank because of its limitations. It doesn't have premium rounds to worry about, but this tank is going to have to play very much like a rat and rely on spotting from its team mostly. But when it deals damage, it will do it like no other light tank. So grinding silver in this thing may not truly be an option despite having a silver bonus. This is a weird tank to discuss, because I can see the argument already being made that it sucks, right? Only 75 pen in the lowest HP tier 10 light tank, it's garbage. But when it's not gonna suck, when it gets the right situation, it's gonna be so ridiculous it's not even funny. I truly do hope we rethink that overheat mechanic decision and end up putting it on this tank to limit its DPS in optimal conditions. And again, if we did that, I think we could also afford to give it more pen to be more viable in more situations. But that's not it for the black tanks of November. There are of course going to be all the black tanks available for sale, as well as an earn-up for one of 2 tank choices, the Lerva Black or the AMX CDC Black. The challenge requires 225 points total, and you get a point for every 10,000 damage you deal in any number of battles, plus a bonus point for every match where you killed at least one enemy tank. And that's it. Not gonna lie, seems a bit odd, but okay. At the end, when you've earned all 225 points, that's when you get the choice for either the Lerva Black or the AMX CDC Black. But if you don't make it to this point in the challenge, or you have both these tanks already, or maybe the unskinned versions of these tanks, which are identical statistically, then at 135 points, you could choose between the American Tier 8 T-77 Heavy Tank or the Russian Tier 8 Su-130PM Tank Destroyer instead. If you do choose a tank at 135 points, it will close out your challenge and complete it for you. So this is not a case where you could earn 2 tanks at 2 different tiers. There are 4 tank options total, and if you choose one of the 2 earlier tanks, you lose out on the later choice of tanks at 225 points. Along the way, of course, there are boosters, consumables, emblem vouchers, and even black skins for certain tanks. The Jagdtiger 88 black skin at 40 points, the skin for that T-77 earnable tank at 60 points, the skin for the Su-130PM at 80 points, and a T-55A black skin for the Cold War T-55A at 100 points. So 4 skins and a free tank of your choice, and again, remember that if you choose a tank at 135 points, it completes the op for you, and you cannot choose another at 225. So if you want one of the black tanks at the end of the challenge, do not pick a tank at 135. So, what do you think about rotary autocannons? Do you think they should be Cold War only? Do you like the sound of the overheat mechanic? What tank are you going to choose in the challenge? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you next time for a review on that tier 10 light tank soon. Thanks for watching, and take it easy.